also still creating invoices manually, then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to create Zoho book invoice on Jotform submission. So with here I'm running a Edutech company and we use Jotform to collect the registration of our courses. So now what I want is that as soon as someone registers for my course on Jotform, automatically an invoice should be created without any manual efforts with the help of Zoho Books. So to do this, we are going to create a connection between Jotform and Zoho Books. To create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So do you also wish to learn this process step by step? Then let me take you to my computer screen.
Welcome to my screen, everyone. So if you're running an Edutech company like me, you know that creating invoice can be a tedious task, especially when done manually. That's why we have set it up an automation between Jotform and Zoho Books. Now, whenever a student registration is submitted via Jotform, an invoice is automatically created in Zoho Books. This saves us time, reduces errors, and ensures that our financial records are always accurate. So let me show you how it is done. So let's start with a simple example, right? So I've already mentioned in my introduction that I'm using Jotform right over here in order to get the course enrollment registrations. So let's say that my name is dummy user and I want to enroll for this course, which is Foundations of Digital Marketing. You can see the course price too, and I'm just going to click on submit after entering all of my details. And as soon as we're just going to click on submit, I'm just going to open my Zoho Books and we're going to refresh this invoice pages to check for the new invoice created for dummy user. Yes, you can see a new invoice has been created. I'm just going to open this invoice right from here. Yes, you can see a new invoice has been created. Over here you can see the description, which is the course name. Over here you can see the rate, the amount, and the quantity too. And yes, you can see a new invoice has been created right over here. You can see the same course name. You can see the same amount of the course, right? Over here, you can see all the details which we entered in our form submission. So yes, this is the automation we are going to learn in today's tutorial. And if you also want to create this automation for your business, then you have to watch this tutorial till the end. So what we have done is we have simply created a connection between Jotform and Zoho Books with the help of Pabbly Connect. And in order to build this connection, I've simply opened the landing page of Pabbly by searching pabbly.com/connect in my browser. It is very easy, and as soon as we want to open the landing page of Pabbly, we are going to get two options. One is sign in and the other one is sign up for free. So if you're a new user, you can click on sign up for free and you're going to get 100 of tasks free every month. But over here I'm an existing user, so I'm just going to click on sign in. And as soon as we're going to click on sign in, it is opening all Pabbly apps. Over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video, we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So for that, I'm just going to click on access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connect account. And as soon as we're going to click on access now, it is opening my dashboard. And to start with this automation, we are going to click on this blue button which says create workflow. And now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So with here, I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations. And on my dashboard, you can see multiple folders which I have already created in which I save my workflows. So if you also wish to learn how to create a new folder or a subfolder, you can click on this hyperlink given right over here which says learn more. And now it is asking me for the workflow name. So I want the workflow name to be how to create Zoho book invoice on Jotform submission. Jotform to Zoho book, and then we are going to click on create. And as soon as we're going to click on create, it is opening the most important window for automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have triggered an action in this. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this, you can understand that the trigger is the commander for the workflow and actions follow the commands. And as you know that we can have only a single commander but multiple followers. So over here, we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger. So by this, you can finally understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger. And in order to start with our automation, we have to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm just going to select it as Jotform. So I'm just going to search for Jotform right over here. And as you can see, the same, so we're going to select it. And now it is asking me for the trigger event. So basically, trigger event is the event on which the workflow will start. So here what I want is that as soon as a new response is received, my workflow should start, right? So we're just going to select the same trigger event. And now it is giving me a webhook URL. So we are going to use this same webhook URL in order to create a connection between our Jotform account and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. So what we're going to do is, first we are just going to copy this webhook URL and then we're going to follow this help text, and it is saying log into your Jotform account, open the form in the form builder and click on settings tab. Navigate to the integration tab and then search for webhooks. Okay, we're going to follow the same. I'm just going to open my Jotform account. You can see that this is my Jotform account and this is the form I want to create this automation for. Okay, so after opening this form, we have to go towards the setting tab, and now from the left side of the bar we have to go towards the integrations, and after coming on towards the integration we have to search for webhooks right over here. So I'm just going to search for webhooks right over here, and as you can see, webhooks, so we are going to select it, and now it is asking me to add the webhook URL. Okay, so first we are just going to delete this HTTP right from here, and then we're going to paste the webhook URL which we copied from our workflow. And after pasting this webhook URL, we are just going to click on this green button which says complete integration, and as soon as we're just going to click on this, yes, you can see integration ready. You have successfully created your integration. Okay, so yes, with this we have successfully created a connection between Jotform account and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. But now it is saying waiting for a webhook response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webhook response, we have to do a test submission or record, right? So what we have to do is we have to submit a form in our Jotform with the test details so that we can capture this webhook response and test our connection. Okay, so I'm just going to open my Jotform once again. We are going to go towards the publish and open this link in a new tab. So this is my form, as you can see. Once again, we are going to fill in this form with the new details. So this time for the name, I'm going to keep it as demo, last name as user. For the email, I'm going to keep it as demoUser@pabblytudes.com. And now it is asking me for the contact number. So for the contact number, I'm just going to keep it as this. It is saying please select the course you are interested in. Okay, so as you can see, all the courses, I'm just going to select my course as this, which is SEO strategies for beginners, and then we're going to click on submit, and as soon as we're going to click on submit, it is saying your submission has been received. So now what has happened is that Jotform has sent the details of our test submission to our workflow. So I'm just going to open my workflow, and yes, you can see that Pabbly has captured the webhook response right over here. You can see that Pabbly has captured the same details which we submitted in our test submission. You can see the same name, you can see the course which we selected over here, you can see the email and also the full name. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step, and now what will happen is that as soon as a new form submission is made in my Jotform, automatically Pabbly is going to capture the response and trigger the workflow. Okay, so further what I want is I want to create Zoho Book invoice on Jotform submission, right? So for the action application, we are going to select it as Zoho Books. So I'm just going to search for Zoho right over here and then books. So I'm just going to search for it, and as you can see the same, so we're going to select it, and after selecting this, for the action event we are going to select it as create sales invoice, and then we're going to click on connect, and as soon as we're going to click on connect, it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Zoho Books account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can click on select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and then we have to click on this blue button which says connect with Zoho Books, and now it is asking me for the domain name, and in order to get this domain name, we have to open our Zoho account. As you can see that this is my Zoho account, and over here you can see all the details. Okay, over here you can see the URL of my Zoho account. Okay, you can notice that over here zoho.in right over here. So this is my domain. You can see your domain can be zoho.com, zoho.eu, zoho.in, zoho.com.au. For me it is zoho.in, as you can see right over here in my URL. Okay, so for the domain name, I'm going to enter it as zoho.in because this is my domain name. Okay, so as you can see that I've entered the domain name, and now I'm just going to click on save, and as soon as we're going to click on save, Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to click on accept and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. You can also click on accept. Pabbly is safe, and as soon as we're going to click on accept, yes, you can see authorization successful. With this we have successfully created a connection between Zoho Books and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And after creating this connection, we are going to move on forward. You can see that now it is asking me for the organization. So here my organization is Pabbly, so I'm just going to select the same, and now it is asking me for the customer. For which customer I'm just going to create this invoice. So as you know that for the one who I'm creating the invoice is the one who submitted the form, right? But that is not a customer in our Zoho Books account. So what we have to do is before creating the invoice, invoice, we have to create a customer in our Zoho Books account so that we can add that customer ID right over here in order to create the invoice further. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to add an action step between this Jotform and Zoho Books. Again, for the action application, we are just going to select it as Zoho Books. Okay, so I'm just going to search for Zoho Books right over here, and as you can see, Zoho Books, so we are going to select it. And now for the action event, we are going to select it as create contact. Over here you can see in the description it is saying create a new customer or vendor. Okay, so yes, we want to create a customer, so that's why we're going to select this action event and click on connect. Once again, it is asking me for the same. So as you can see that we have recently connected our Zoho Books account, so I'm just going to click on select existing connection and then save. And as soon as we're going to click on save right over here, yes, you can see that we have successfully connected our Zoho Books account once again. And once again, it is asking me for the organization, so I'm just going to select my organization as Pabbly's right over here. It is asking me for the contact type. It is asking that if I want to create a customer or a vendor. So as you can notice that to create an invoice, we want to create a customer first. So we have to create a customer, so that's why we are going to select the contact type as customer. And now it is saying customer subtype, so I'm just going to select it as individual right over here. We're going to move on forward. It is asking me for the language code, so for that I'm just going to select it as English right over here. Okay, it is saying is portable enabled, so I'm just going to click on false right over here. And now it is asking me for the currency ID. So over here I'm in India, so I'm just going to select my currency as Indian rupees. So I'm just going to search for it, and as you can see, Indian rupees, we're just going to select it. And now it is asking me for many another details like payment terms, label, and many another details. So we are only going to fill in the details which are required, like contact name, right? So we're going to enter the contact name right over here, which is the name we received from our Jotform submission. But over here we are not going to enter the name manually or by copy pasting it, but instead we are going to map it from the previous step. So you must be wondering, what is mapping? Okay, so mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, previous step was the trigger step where we selected Jotform as our trigger application. So we are going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. So over here I'm going to give you an example that it is asking me for the contact name, right? So let's say that I'm going to enter my contact name right over here manually by typing it like this. Then this will not change with every new response received because this is static information and I've entered it manually. But let's say that we're going to erase this contact name right from here and we're going to look for name in the previous step. And as you can see, demo user. So let's say that we're going to map demo and then user from the previous response. Then this will definitely change because my previous response will also change, right? So that's why we do mapping right over here to run our workflow in real time. So as you can see, we map the first name, put a space, and the last name. We're going to move on forward. It is asking me for many another details. So I've already mentioned that we're going to map the required details only. So now we're going to map the first name right over here. So I'm just going to look for first name in the previous response, and as you can see, demo, we are going to map it. We are going to move on forward, map the last name. I'm going to look for last name in the previous response. As you can see, user, we are going to map it. We are going to move on forward, and over here we're going to map the email. I'm going to look for email, and as you can see, the same, so we're going to map it. Over here we are going to map the phone number. So I'm just going to search for it in the previous response, and as you can see, contact numbers, we're going to map it. And after mapping all of these details, we are going to move on forward. You can see that it is asking me for many another details. Once again, we are only going to map the required details or the details I wish to fill in. Okay, we're going to move on forward right over here. And now as you can see that it is asking me is taxable. So here I want to keep it as none. So for that, I'm just going to switch on this mapping button and erase this true right from here. Okay, we are going to move on forward, and directly we are going to click on this blue button which says save and send test request. And as I'm going to click on save and send test request right over here, yes, you can see the contact has been added. So yes, with this we have successfully created a new customer with the name demo user in our Zoho Books account. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to open my Zoho Books account. From the left side of the bar, we have to go towards the customers, and as you can see, a new customer created. You can see the name demo user, you can see the email and the phone number which we entered, right? So now after creating the customer, we have to create the invoice. So once again, we are going to go towards the create sales invoice tab, and over here we are going to move on forward towards the customer. Okay, so as you can see that it is asking me to select the customer right from here, but we don't want to select the customer. We are going to map it because I want this to remain dynamic. Okay, because every time a new form submission is made, I want that new customer should be created and the new invoice should be created for that same person who submitted the form. Okay, for that I'm just going to switch on this mapping button right from here and delete this customer ID, and we're going to map this customer ID from the response of our previous step, okay, which was the create customer. So now after erasing this customer ID, we are going to map the customer ID. Over here I'm just going to open the response, and as you can see, contact ID. So we're going to map this from the previous step right over here, and after mapping this contact ID, with this we have successfully made this field a dynamic dynamic one as we mapped it. And now after completing this customer field, we are going to move on forward. It is saying contact person's ID. So if you wish, you can definitely enter something right over here, but I don't wish to do so. I'm going to move on forward. Over here, it is saying ignore auto number generation. I'm going to keep it as false. You can see all the details. So once again, we are only going to fill in the details which are required. Okay, we are going to move on towards down. Over here, you can see the required field is exchange rate. Over here, I'm going to keep the exchange rate as 1. We are going to move on forward right over here. You can see that it is saying line item name right over here. So we have to enter the name of the item, so which is the course name, right? So for that, I'm going to search for course name in the previous response. And as you can see the course name right over here, which is SEO strategies for beginners. We are going to map it. We are going to move on forward. You can see that it is asking for the line item description. So if you want, you can definitely enter it, but I don't wish to add so I'm going to move on forward. It is asking me for the line item rate. So as you can see, the rate is mentioned right over here in the name only, which is 599 rupees, but we have to enter the rate right over here by mapping it, right? So that this can also turn dynamic. So what we're going to do is we are just going to fetch this rate of the course right from here. For that, we are going to add another action step, okay, between our create contact and create sales invoice. We are going to use text formatter by Pabbly right over here. It is a feature by Pabbly which helps you to format your text. So for the action application, I'm just going to select it as text formatter by Pabbly, and then for the action event, we are going to select it as text parser and click on connect. Over here, we are going to map the text, which is the course name. So I'm just going to search for course name right over here, and as you can see the same, so we're going to map it. Now it is asking me for the text match after and the text match before. So what I want is I want to extract this 599 rupees, right? So this is after this bracket opens, okay? So I'm just going to enter this, and now it is before this bracket closes. So once again, I'm going to enter the before as bracket closes, and I'm going to click on save and send test request. And as I'm going to do so, yes, you can see over here is the rate. We have received this as the result, okay? So now we're going to map this result right over here in the line item rate of our create invoice. I'm just going to move on forward towards the line item rate. As you can see the same, so I'm just going to open this text parser response right from here, and as you can see 599 rupees. So we're going to map it. We're going to move on forward. It is asking me for the line item quantity. So here you can see that I'm selling courses, so that is purchased as a single only. So I'm just going to keep it as 1 and remain this as static. We're going to move on forward. It is asking for the discount, so I don't want to add any discount, so I'm just going to keep it as blank. It is saying line item tax ID. I'm just going to switch on this mapping button. I don't want to add any text, so I'm just going to erase this. Okay, we are going to move on forward after erasing this, because I don't want to add any tags right over here. We're going to move on forward. We are going to go towards the save and send test request button right over here. And as I'm going to click on save and send test request, yes, you can see the invoice has been created. So yes, with this, we have successfully created an invoice. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my Zoho Books and check for the new invoice created. Okay, I'm just going to open my Zoho Books. From the left side of the bar, we have to go towards the invoices. And yes, you can see a new invoice has been created for demo user. So I'm just going to open it, and yes, you can see the invoice created. You can see the same course name, and over here you can see the same amount, which is 599. Over here you can see all the details, right? So yes, with this we have successfully created an invoice in our Zoho Books with the same details received from our Jotform submission. And yes, with this we have successfully completed our workflow. And now what will happen is that as soon as a new response is received from our Jotform, automatically invoice would be created in my Zoho Books without any manual efforts. We just have to sit back and relax, and this workflow is going to run in backend. So yes, this was it for the video, and now I'll just summarize this workflow for you once. So for the trigger application, we selected Jotform. For the trigger event, we selected new response. For the action applications, we selected Zoho Books and text formatter by Pabbly, and again Zoho Books, because I wanted that as soon as a new response is received from my Jotform, automatically a Zoho Book invoice should be created. And to create a Zoho Book invoice, we first wanted to create the customer, so that's why we added this action step right over here of create contact. So yes, this was it for the video, and if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.